Yu-Gi-Oh! Mint.com is now TradingCardMint.com. Please check out their selection of over 20,000 cards with prices cheaper than TCG Player.
It is finally time to talk about Premium Overlord and what I've been seeing a lot of the OCG players kind of adapting towards the local tournaments, on top of some of the, I guess, funner things that this deck can actually do, because there's a lot of dumb shit that this particular Overlord deck is capable of, and just some kind of different changes to this. So guys, please do me a favor, check out our friends at TradingCardMint.com down below in the description. That would be great. It helps me out, helps them out. You guys enter MCOL40 on checkout, find the awesome Q4 stuff that you are needing for your standard decks, or possibly some of the stuff that you're looking for premium format. Now, first thing I need to tell you about this deck is a few things have changed. The engines have changed. The Destiny isn't always going to be your first Vanguard. Now, this particular Dragonic Overlord giving your force marker to your Vanguard, so that these guys can swing in for, you know, 36 if once you switch into the Destiny. Oh yeah, there's a lot of cool things. You have to play a little bit heavier on the Overlord side now, because unfortunately, even though it's great that we got new Overlords in general, the Break Stride was what made the deck. You know, being able to kill something, search top 7 for an Overlord, it gives you ammo for this guy. And it's not really until like the mid to late game that this deck, you know, gets back on its investment. So that's one of the things that people need to understand. So anyway, 4 copies of new Dragonic Overlord. He is base name Dragonic Overlord. Most of the time you want to go first with this deck. I find myself using Conroe to want to go search for a heal trigger to auto set up for GB3. As long as everything goes relatively well for you, if you aggro your opponent with new triggers and things like that, depending on your matchups, you should be able to take full advantage of pushing them to the 4 or 5 range, clip them off with this, and then get Pentadrive with your first stride. It's actually pretty nuts. Also, assigning the force marker to your Vanguard in this deck is super dumb. I don't see myself going beyond 1 force marker, depending on the situation. There's some games where you won't set up the force marker at all. Also, these things are 13k rear guards, so let that be known. If you're playing against Coral, or if you're playing against new stuff, these guys do work by themselves, which is pretty good. There's not really much else to say about this. This does have a cheeky interaction in the deck. So there's that. 4 copies of the Destiny. So this card is still nuts. Being able to continuously Soul Blast on the beginning of the turn to kill something, then Break Stride on top of it and kill something else. Resource management for your opponent becomes very scarce. As long as they're not throwing free units at you, this card's so absurd. Like, I didn't actually think about it until I started playing this deck more. The card value that this has with a force marker, as long as everything went well for you, just aggro, aggro, aggro. Thank you, the Destiny. You're still a dumb card. And then something that I saw the OCG started to do in 1s and 2s of while playing this variant was the Rebirth. Now, if you get rushed, you can limit break your opponent back. Remember, your limit break is, oh god, it's a Counter Blast 1. Choose 1 or more of your Kagero rear guards and lock them. If the number of cards you locked is 5 or more, you gain the red text, which is choose 2 cards from your hand, discard them. Then at the end of the battle that this unit attacked a Vanguard, you get to pay this cost, and then this guy gets to restand. Also, fun fact, it has Lord, which is good. And in addition to that clause, you also gain cross-ride status, since this is actually named Original Dragonic Overlord. I haven't seen that be relevant yet, but it's there in case it actually happens. Just general weird interactions. You can just force the cross ride if you're forced into this on your ride, and you get the other Overlord somewhere later on. Just kind of something to know that you can generally do with this deck. But it is, we cut the X, we cut the end. I don't know, they're not that good right now. So 10 Overlords. Our starter is Conroe. I do like the draw guy. but you need to be able to search for your combo pieces. I hate to say it. This gives you a heal trigger for G-Guards, gives you stride fodders. This literally sets up everything that you need for Counterblast 1. Like, he's still the MVP of this deck, and I can't really say much more about him. It sucks because he can get sniped. Now, starters, no problem. We got this guy. For Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, throw this guy on Vanguard, kill something, draw a card. This card inherently sucks against everything that plays the new starters, or is named Coral. But being able to literally kill snipe a starter or an early game aggressor and get a card out of it, like, hello, +1. It's really cool because he's 10k. We just literally cut out the other terrible card that we had. But this card screams Value Town in and itself, and I'm so happy. It's never really until a moment where you get a 13k attacker that can kill something in the early game are you just truly happy with life. 4 copies of Nihilum. This card, nobody can replace him. 21k on a Ziegenberg turn seems pretty good to me. And no strings attached. Also an 11k by himself, but he does cross that really annoying threshold that your stuff needs to cross. And then 3 copies of this guy, Soul Blast 1, reveal an Overlord, kill something. There's not much of an explanation to this. I know some builds were playing 4 of this. 3's fine. Alright, grade 1s. Our counter charge engine and our go search for whatever Overlord we want guy. I know earlier I said that you might get stuck on the rebirth, which is fine. You might have to go grab a heal trigger or something to set up depending on the matchup. Conroe does fix a lot of your problems, but I've seen some really strange things happen with this guy. He does set up very good for you, and that's why we love him. 4 copies of Griffin. You really want this for the recycle aspect, but I never see it. I usually will see one of these a game where I just use it to stride into this guy, but I don't know. There's just been times where these just don't show up. 2 copies of Lava Flow. So I did up this from the 1 copy I was playing with the heavier Overlord count. Like I said, you just need to make sure that you're maintaining a consecutive stride every turn, because this eats a stride, and then you have to put another Overlord into your soul. Like, you need 2 3s every turn in order to be taking full advantage of him. So this does supplement a little bit of it. Tech choices, 1 copy of Airmo. I really haven't found the countercharging to be needed. It helps, but I mean, how many times are we killing a rearguard? I'd rather have this be an 11k booster. 1 copy of Dragana Gaia. This does need a counterblast, which kind of sucks, but I mean, throw it behind this guy. It just becomes more threatening. I don't know, this card also kind of sucks, honestly, but it is an 8k, 10k base, so I'm kind of indifferent about these. You have choices. There's some really cheeky things you can do with this, which just threatening this on an earlier turn is pretty cute. Triggers. I don't know what you really need to say about this. E-crits, their new shield value, they're absolutely amazing. 4 copies of the Wyvern Guard. Draw trigger. You need to play draws in this deck. Cutting the Protect Orbs felt so good. These are actually wonderful. And then 4 copies of Countercharging Heal. I have not found a need to play the other heal triggers. These are still incredibly crucial to this deck's engine. Sometimes you need that soul charge, sometimes you need that counter charge. You know, they're still here for you. Take advantage of them. It sucks if there comes up a time to where you need the larger shield value. I get it, but you do have to put some stock in this. So, we're playing Hella Force Markers, because we can. And then, alright, G-Zone. 3 copies of this guy. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you don't need 3. I still think you do. Closing out games with this effect is super deadly. 2 copies of this. I was thinking about going to 3, because the new once per turn does allow this to restand 1 more time with 1 drive check every time. I've heard indifferent opinions on both sides of it, but I have not run into a game where I need it. Plus the current resource pool in this deck is a little bit tight, so I'm still fine with 2 of these. for the general time being. 2 copies of Zegan Bag. I have not gone into this recently, but restanding on that new value is pretty damn good. And then 1 copy of Sometimes Our First Strider. CB1 Kill Something, draw a card. Pretty good. 1 copy of Sabreeze, you still need it. 1 copy on Drachma, if this resolves. Just make sure whichever Overlords you're doing your thing with, you don't fuck up, because you do need this. 1 copy of this. I'm thinking about going 2 of this. The counterblast one is kind of heavy, but the extra value on those open rare guards is really good. Root Flare. In addition to Griffin, having this to recycle stuff is actually pretty important. 1 copy of this. I don't know. Still indifferent about this. I still kind of want to play the GB8, but this does accelerate. And 3 copies of Griffin. Actually, having 3 Griffin has kind of been coming up lately. Being able to kill those really pesky large columns. Yeah, there's still a lot of troublesome attacks in the game. And Griffin still helps clean that shit up. So, just something to consider. Griffin is still really good, especially at 3. So, that is my current build. I welcome discussion down below. Please check out our friends at tradingcardmint.com down below in the description. It helps me out, helps them out, helps you guys out. And, you know, enter MCO40 on checkout. Save yourselves a little bit of money. And, of course, guys, that's all I have for this video. So, please feel free to roast me as the worst Vanguard player down below. It's all luck, baby. Just gotta get those double crits. Alright, guys, I'm out. Peace.